Hey everyone, it's Melody with Design by Melody. I'm here with the fourth and final layout using my Scraptastic kit from August. This is for my kit review series. If you are not familiar with this series, make sure you go check out the playlist on my channel that goes through all the kits that I've reviewed this year. Basically, I have picked a kit or possibly two for each month this year, 2016, and I have shared with you the unboxing, all the details of the kit, so you'll know what you're purchasing or what the kit offers if you are looking at purchasing it. Then I share all the projects that I've done with that kit, and then I do a kit review video at the very end recapping what I made as well as my thoughts on it, and then also just kind of an overview of the kit itself. I started doing this series because I wanted to subscribe to a new kit, but I had no idea which one I wanted to subscribe to. So instead of limiting myself, I went ahead and decided to try all of them out. I contacted different kit club owners, and especially the ones who don't offer just a single month purchase. And so far I've had really good responses. A few of them had offered me the kit to review without having to purchase it myself. Most of them I have purchased myself, but I try to always disclose that if it was given to me. This particular one is one that I did purchase myself, the Scraptastic kit. And this is the fourth layout that I'm doing with it. It is a pocket page kit, as you can see, and I've kind of gotten to the end of the cards. I'm using every single card that's left on this layout. So I don't have any 4x6 cards left, but I do have photos in most of the pockets, as you can see. So I just went ahead and used all the 3x4 cards that were left, and then I am using two on the bottom with two smaller photos on a piece of white cardstock, 4x6 cardstock, just to kind of create those 4x6 pockets. Now I went ahead and pulled out my little scrap bin. I just have a little small box that I keep all my small scraps in, and I'm pulling that out to add a few little bits and pieces here and there just to kind of fill in. I wanted to use my stamp set a little bit more. I've used it a decent amount in these last four layouts, but I did want to try something a little bit different for this layout, and I went ahead and just stamped out this stamp, and what it says is today's story, and that has a camera. And I had done this for the last layout but did not use it, so I decided to do it again for this one, but I'm going to put it on a piece of blue cardstock instead, just to add a little bit more blue at the bottom of this layout. Plus it matches the blue stars on this 3x4 pocket that I have at the bottom here. Now I kept trying to figure out what I wanted to put on the title card. So I have my June 2015 LE Studio 3x4 card that I use on all of my title pages for 2015, but I wasn't sure what else I wanted to put. And I had this Go and See not chipboard, I keep trying to say chipboard, wood veneer words. And so I was trying to think, okay, my first thought was Go See Explore, and I didn't have two E's, so I couldn't do that. And then I'm trying a couple different things, and then I end up settling on Go See Be You. So the photos in this spread are all just miscellaneous things that we've done throughout the month of June. The top one is of Ernest and Kaylin and I going for lunch. Kaylin, when he would get out of preschool at 12:30, they would come pick me up for lunch, and we would either go on a picnic or go to a deli or something like that. And my job is about a half a mile from where Kaylin was going to preschool, so it was really easy. But so that's that picture, and then the middle row is just a picture of Kaylin on our porch holding his Toy Story toys. He has a Woody, so he's just holding that, smiling. And then there's a picture of Ernest and I, and then a picture of Kaylin and Ernest sleeping on the bed together, just taking an afternoon nap. And then there's two pictures at the bottom of us at Krispy Kreme eating donuts one day. So I felt like that top card was just too white, like there was just a lot of white space. So I ended up pulling out this 4x6 card, and this is from a Gossamer Blue kit. And if you watched my haul number 2 for for September of 2016, you'll see that card in there. And it's just white it has like these black V's on it. You could say that they look like birds. You could say they look like V's or arrows or something like that. But I just like that it added a little bit of color to the top, but not really busy. And I have a lot of white space on this whole spread anyway, so it just kind of felt like it fit well. So I'm just putting these down. It was a very simple title card, but I wanted to just make sure that it looked nice. And I am going to go back here in a moment and just add a little scrap of paper that I had cut off of another card. If you noticed, I trimmed down each of my 3x4 cards, and then if I used a 4x6 card, I like to do the white border on all my 4x6 cards. So Kaylin's sitting there looking at it with me, trying to remember what each photo is. That's why you keep seeing his little hand pop in and out. But I have all these little scrap pieces of paper, just little strips of paper, and that's from trimming down other cards. So I like to try to utilize those if at all possible. By the end of the kit, I'll always have a few of them left, but I try to use as many as I possibly can. And here is one of those instances. I'm just using a strip of the yellow. I just felt like it added a little bit down here at the bottom. And I use Tombow Mono multi-glue to adhere those down. And if it seeps out the side, even though I know that it is going to be clear, if it seeps out the side, I try to wipe it off because Tombow Mono multi-glue can become tacky instead of just dry. So if you're going to use Tombow Mono, I suggest kind of wiping off the part that seeps out from whatever you glued down. So this card here, I'm just putting this little question mark. And I'm going to add a little caption on here, and it's just going to say, what is he looking at? Because he's just like, he's got his donut in his hand and he's just like staring off. I think he was staring at the like assembly line of the donuts, but it's just kind of funny because you don't know exactly what he's looking at. And there was this question mark card, so I felt like that just went perfectly there. And I'm just going through the chipboard pieces here, and I'm going to include a bunch of them on this spread. There's this one that just says love. I just trimmed off the speech bubble part of it. I'm going to put it at the bottom of that photo, and then that last flare badge in the kit is going to go on the outside of the page protector. So it's going to sit here because that's where it's going to go, but when I actually put it on, it's going to go on the outside of the page protector. Then I had this other circular chipboard piece, and then there was this card with all these little crayons, and I was going to write journaling in there, but then I was looking at the chipboard piece and there was one that says we are in this together, and then so I cut it apart and I put it in the different crayons, and then I'm going to write our favorite days are spent together as a family, and that's going to kind of create a filler card, but also just kind of describe the all of the photos a little bit. And that's just that we're spending time together as a family, not doing anything real particular, but just enjoying our time together. So that's what I'm putting here. And these little tiny alphas are amazing. These are from Kaiser Crafts. My friend Angela sent those to me. Thank you, Angela. I love them. I use them all the time. She sent these to me, so along with a bunch of other ones. But I think I use the black and white ones the most, which is kind of funny because I really thought I was going to use the colored ones more, but I use the black and white ones more than I use anything else. But this page is really coming together very nicely. For it to be the end of the kit, I had a lot of little bits and pieces left, especially a lot of those labels. So I'm just kind of fiddling around, working on all the cards at one time, seeing what works. And this is where I'm putting that little caption that says, what is he looking at, to go along with that question mark. I like just kind of playing around with the end of a kit. I reach a point where I go, okay, can I make another layout or am I done? And that's where I was right before I created this page. I had gathered all my stuff together and I was looking at the cards that were left and I was like, okay, I could totally do another layout with this. So I decided to go ahead and do a fourth layout, and I really like the fact that I did and how it turned out. Now, I created this little label. There was this label, and so I layered it on top of a piece of pink scrap paper, and I was going to add my journaling right there, but I end up messing it up and not liking what I write, and then I don't have another one exactly the same, so I end up kind of changing what I'm doing. So you see I messed up, and then I was like, okay, well, can I do this again? And I thought about just trimming it off and doing it, but it just doesn't look right. So I end up taking one of these black labels that says today we, and it had like the edges weren't real, like the ink around the edges wasn't real dark, so I just trim off the very edges so it doesn't have that white looking border around it. And then I write my journaling, and I'm just putting today we excuse me, enjoyed the delicious glorious donuts, and put Krispy Kreme in the green little letters, as you can see here. And these again are Kaiser Craft. And I'm sorry I'm doing this off screen, but I was just putting it on a little strip of scrap paper. That way the word was one whole piece and I could kind of move it around and see how it fit. I didn't want to put it directly on the label because I wasn't sure if it was going to fit side by side, and that's a little too difficult to move around. So I just went ahead and took one of the little strips of paper that I had left and added adhesive to it, and I'm just putting my letters right on top of those. These Kaiser Craft mini alpha tiles, most of them are extremely sticky. For whatever reason, these green ones are not, so I have to add just a little bit of adhesive behind them. So putting them on a little strip of paper makes it actually really easy. And this is where I'm like, okay, how am I going to fit this? And I had put delicious donuts and had put the word from, but Krispy Kreme went and fit beside it, so I just cover up the word from and I just put donuts and then Krispy Kreme. So that's what it looks like right there. I'm just going to put this right there. And so that card is done. I'm not going to add anything else to that card. The bottom two cards are almost done. I've got to add a little bit more. I'm going to put this camera on top of a piece of this glassine bag. It just felt like it needed something behind it. It doesn't necessarily need anything behind it, but I kind of felt like it did. And I just needed to make sure that the layers were adhered down. And I'm going to put that wood veneer camera right on top of that. And then I'll add a little piece of one of the black labels, like an edge of a black label under that, kind of coming off the edge. This card right here said changer. It said game changer at the top. And so I wanted to use that chipboard that said at the end of the day, because this is them kind of taking a nap kind of at the end of the day. And so I'm going to use the Kaiser Craft Alphas again to put the word game right above changer. So it says the same thing. I just kind of have to move it around a little bit. And then there was that label that I had messed up on and cut off, and it said good times. So I just took the part that I cut off where I didn't mess up the journaling and used that there to say good times. Excuse me. And I'm looking at using this heart to put right there in the center of that camera, that chipboard camera. But I decided instead of just cutting it out, because I'd stamped it and I was going to cut it out, I was like, I'll just use my heart punch. It would just be easier. So that's exactly what I do. And then I use one of the little pieces that I cut off to put under that. It's just one of the little strips that I ended up cutting off of another card, and I'm kind of fiddling around looking like, okay, what can I use? And then I found this dark blue one and I just layer it right underneath. It just kind of helps make sure it doesn't look like it's floating. And again, I get to use another little piece of something from the kit. I keep everything, all the little tiny strips. If it's like less than 1/8 of an inch wide, then I'll throw it away. But if it's 1/8 of an inch or larger wide, then I'll keep it and see if I can use it. I even keep all the little offcuts of like the chipboard pieces that I cut in half. All of that is kept just in case I might use it somewhere. And I had these two little labels that said smile and love, so I'm going to layer them kind of like tabs behind our photos here, and then I'll add another little black label under that just to kind of anchor those tabs. I wanted to add something else to that card, but I just didn't know what else to add, so this is kind of what I came up with. This is pretty much the end of the layout. I'm going to add just a few more little bits and pieces that you'll see here as I finish up. But this layout came together relatively quickly, which is really fun to do when it's the end of a kit and you're trying to decide what you have left. Do you have enough left to make a page? That's kind of where I was when I started this kit, started this particular spread. So I kind of like it. I really enjoy actually doing pages like this because I feel like I'm maximizing the usage that I get out of each of the kits that I get. And for me, that's kind of the point of getting the kits. I have a significant amount of things in my stash already. I'm not getting the kits to increase my stash. I'm getting the kits to give me inspiration and kind of help me try something different or do something more with the photos that I have. And so that's one reason why I like getting kits, just to kind of help inspire me with new products, especially when they're exclusive to designs by different people. Those are things that you can't necessarily like pick up at Michael's or Joann's or Hobby Lobby. Whenever you get them from a kit club that has exclusively designed products, you get something a little bit different than what you've gotten before. So I really like that and enjoy that. So this finishes out the layout for the fourth layout that I've done for the Scraptastic August kit. And I will have my kit review up for you guys in just a few days, so make sure you look out for that, because I will give an overview of the kit, what I created, as well as my thoughts, of course, and what I had left. Excuse me. And then I'm going to jump right into my hip kit. I've already started working on some projects with that kit. So keep an eye out for that as well. Thank you so much for joining me. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and then also subscribe if you are not a subscriber already. I really appreciate all the support that you guys give, and I hope you enjoy your day. All right, guys. Bye.